Welcome back to another stock market portfolio update video, and this is going to be another interesting video, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have been wanting me to upload this because, well, I've actually had some comments saying, oh, when you can do another update video, and to be truthful, I was kind of putting it off because obviously the stock market's been so volatile and so just a bit mad really, that I was thinking, oh, let me wait for it to see if it can settle a little bit, and it might not, because at the moment, if I was to show you my portfolio, it's like record highs, let's say, and it's like, is that really a true reflection? Let it settle down and see where it's at. And I tried to do that, and then obviously we had Jerome Powell talk about interest rates and if they're cutting, raising, staying, and obviously they ends up cutting rates, and the market didn't like the way he was talking. It was almost like they were nearly not going to cut rates, and I think the market reacted. I get some people saying overreacted, depends on how you want to look at it and everything, but the market reacted not very well, and the stock market pretty much had a little bit of a correction, and it was a good time to buy. I didn't buy any because I thought it could go lower. I was prepared for it to go lower, and if it wasn't to go lower, then it is what it is, and I get to save up and have a bigger cash pile for when maybe something does happen like that, because I've got enough skin in the game where I don't need to, I guess, like feel pressured to buy as such. And the stocks I was holding, I still wasn't like, wow, I want to buy at them prices. There was a few that I was like tempted to buy, and I'm still in between at the moment, but I feel like it could have a bit of a drop. But this is where I might just average in a bit more. But we'll get into that when we get to that type of stock. It turns out my portfolio then rebounded and went up, and some of my stocks are kind of sky high, and we'll get into that now. So the first stock we have got is Apple, the good old Apple that I've held since I was 21, since I started this channel pretty much. And the reason why I probably stick with this stock is because it's just a nice way of tracking like where it's at. 115% I'm up, haven't bought any more, haven't sold, I've got the same 7 shares, and I just like to hold it because it's a solid company, and also it just gives me a good track of like just where you could have gone if you bought a stock like a solid stock like Apple, let's say. There has been times where I've been tempted to just sell it and put my capital in, maybe you could say, a riskier stock, because obviously £1,400 isn't going to be life-changing having that amount of money, and if Apple doubled, that would be 2,800. It's not life-changing, do you know what I mean? Like, if you were to build, if you don't want it to become a bit more impactful, you'd want to start buying more shares of Apple, but I don't really. I'm going for more growth stocks, or have more of a growth story to them to get more money, almost, you could say. Obviously Apple and those bigger companies would be solid to buy if I had a larger chunk of money to put in, but at the moment I'm trying to build my capital as much as I can. Yeah, no, average price $125 in Apple, and solid company. Fubo TV, this is my speculative stock. So this is a stock that I believe could have a good story to them, in the sense of I feel like they can turn profitable maybe at the end of 2025, but I'm confident that they will in 2026, and that's the reason why I'm getting into Fubo now. Obviously they're burning a lot of cash, they are, and a lot of the reason that's why it's a penny stock at the moment, like, really. So Fubo is just one of those type of plays that I believe it will start turning a profit end of 2025 or 2026. February, when their earnings are, I believe, might be wrong. Don't quote me on exactly the month or day, I can't remember when it is. It's around that time. A lot of my stocks are around February time or late January. I just feel like that'll be a very interesting earnings to see where they're at, where they're going, and hopefully that profitability story is still on the cards, and they are looking like they're going to be turning them profits. So it'd be very interesting to see how they have done, and I do feel quite confident in Fubo. Obviously it's like 2% of my portfolio, if that. Yeah, Fubo, haven't got loads of shares in it, hence why it's not a massive position. Obviously this could explode if it starts turning profits. I'm tempted to buy more. If it goes to like $1.20, 30, I'd buy some more, to be honest. Pick up a 500 more shares or so. Fubo is my speculative stock. Grab, so this is a brand new one. This one I haven't shared to you guys before, and it's quite an interesting stock because I need to look into it a bit more, but from what I've looked into it, it's got like 6 billion in cash, which is pretty incredible when you consider it's a market cap of 18 billion. So they hold a lot of cash, which is really good. And they started to turn profits. They're starting to get into profitability in the quarters, and hopefully they can stay consistent with that. And then it'll be quite good to then start looking at more of it in depth, of seeing where they can actually go. But yeah, I like the fact that they got a lot of cash on the balance sheet. That's always good, obviously. And Uber inquired them because I think they got like 27% stake in Grab. I might be wrong. And the whole point of it is it's like an Uber, but you could say a better version of Uber because it's got everything. You can get your travel insurance on it. You can get better prices on taxis, and they run more in Indonesia and Asia, around that area, and Uber just couldn't compete against Grab. And they're almost a little bank account as well. You can almost have like your own bank account within Grab, and it's pretty interesting how they got it. And you can buy food like you can with Just Eat and Uber Eats. It's just all in that one app. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. They've been growing, and I think it's a good little stock to hold, to be honest with you. I can see this being $10 within a year maybe. So yeah, I think Grab is a good one to look into, and I want to look into it more. So yeah, that's something I'm going to be doing. But from the first glance of everything, Grab looks good. Palantir, so as you can see, the big $80.70, which I literally can't believe it. Like, from the people that watched me since the beginning, like, you knew I was in this stock since I started this channel, really. And some of you guys, and me included, were buying a few shares at $7, $8, and to think it's now $80, that's 10 times your money if you're buying at them prices. Granted, I bought in at, sadly, $25, $26, $20 and all that, but because back then when I just didn't understand what a market cap was, I didn't understand valuations of why that was ridiculously overvalued at the time. And yeah, it's just mad to like think where we are now. And it just shows, if you buy a wonderful company, something that's really, really solid, and you believe in it, like, you could pay the over the odds for it, but then get the rewards by just being in the stock over time. So like, I was way over the odds. Granted, I didn't make any money for probably 2 years, which that came at a capital cost. That capital could have been in something else, but I was averaging in. I was buying a few more shares when it was $7, as much as I could. Obviously, I wish I bought more, but I didn't have a lot of money at the time when it was then, so I couldn't really afford to do that. Because I was trying to build my own business at the time. So it was just really hard to like try and get as many shares as I could in it. But now we're sitting at £35,000. We're up 337%. And yes, this is where it's a very strange company, because obviously we've got into the QQQs and there's been crazy amounts of shares being bought. Crazy amounts. I'll be able to get a stat now. I saw it on Twitter. Yeah, so the volume today was 280 million plus shares traded, and this was not retail. On average, Palantir does 70 to 80 million shares a day. To do 3 times that amount means that I personally think the Nasdaq QQQ funds came in today at the close. So this is from Amit. If you watch him, great channel, great live stream, absolutely love watching his videos. And yeah, the share, and that's probably why it's at $80, because the amount of shares that they had to buy for the QQQs. And yeah, and also another thing is, we're getting a lot of price targets from the institutions now saying it's $70 stock price target, $75, $80 someone's price target for the stock. And yes, it is very overvalued in the sense of going off their earnings. It's way overvalued. That's why I'm not buying at these prices. Like if it can drop to $50, I'll be buying. $40, I would be buying. But yeah, but then also people are valuing it beyond how much money it's making. They're valuing it by the fact that some people believe that there is just no competitors to Palantir. No one competes against Palantir, and there's a price to pay for that. Do you know what I mean? So they can acquire such a mass amount of money in the future and businesses that will use them. So people are kind of pricing in that sense as well, and just how good the technology is. And that's the thing with valuations in general. Like you see startups valuing themselves at 10 million, a million, and they're not really making any money at all, if not burning ridiculous amounts of money. And it's like, when you see Dragon's Den, it's like, why are you valuing yourself at that when you're not even doing this and that? It's just like, but then someone could be around the corner and be like, see the potential of it and be like, I feel like that's an absolute steal deal. Because they feel like in 2 years that could just accelerate crazy amounts. So it's very hard. But Palantir's been always a very long-term hold for me for years to come. So that's why I'm sticking with it, staying with it. And yeah, sorry, I literally rambled on big time with that. PayPal, this has been my stock that I found a year ago. A year ago today, probably around that time. And I bought 119 shares. I put my pretty much quite a lot of my savings in at the time, to be honest, because I was like, it's pretty damn undervalued. So I bought it, and it's now trading at $87 a share, and it's got the new CEO. You're going to see a lot of his new changes come into effect into these new earnings now. So it's going to be very interesting with PayPal. My targets was about $110, $120, and then I'd probably consider start coming out of PayPal. So yeah, PayPal's still a good buy realistically when you go through their finances. So far, $15.48. Like, do you remember when we were buying this up a month or two ago at $7? So like doubled our money, pretty much. 95% I'm up, and yeah, I think PayPal. I think Sofi is a future stock. I think this is something I'm going to hold for a few years. Before it was more of like a trade, like a swing trade, get in, get out. But after looking into it more, I'm going to stick with it. Next one is Tesla, $423 a share, which is crazy. Got 39 shares of this. I'm up 99%, pretty much doubled my money on this stock. And that was another stock that I was like wanting to buy more, and I kept saying in the videos, I want to buy more of this, but I got a little bit greedy as well, in the sense of I wanted it to go lower. And that's another thing I would say is, like, just if you feel like that's a good price, just buy at that price. Don't go all into it, but just buy a bit of it instead of like waiting for that drop that might never happen. And that's what happened. But because I wanted 50 shares, but it is what it is, and you can't complain. It's gone up, so you can't complain. And obviously it's benefited loads because of the fact that Trump is the new president, and Elon Musk and Trump together, they got a good relationship. So I think this has also played into a part, on top of their autonomous driving, the robots that they've got, Optimus they're called. So Tesla's got a good future. So in total, my portfolio as well, £69,216, and I'm up 148%, which is mental to think. £41,412 return. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll do a lot more of these portfolio update videos. See you guys in the next one.